Hello everyone and welcome to Best of the Month, where I'm joined by a whole host of amazing board game creators to tell you what they've enjoyed playing most in the month, in this case of December. Now this doesn't have to be a brand new game, it doesn't have to be one that's been sort of the hottest off the press. Some of these games are actually ones that have just come back off the shelf and we've enjoyed playing them again. So some new, some old. For me, however, it was a very new game, if that's what you want to call it, because it was actually the brand new Advent Calendar, the third one in the Exit the Game Advent Calendar series from Cosmos, with this one being called The Silent Storm. Now, we really did enjoy the previous two. There's like a Yeti on a mountain one, and there was a second one, which I can't really remember. It was like a wonder book sort of thing that you were going through. In this case, you are stuck at the North Pole and you're trying to save Christmas. What a brilliant sort of thing. Escape room theme, and also it's an advent calendar. So there's 24 doors and you've got 24 sort of puzzles and stuff to go through as the month progresses. As always, there's plenty of twists I'm not going to spoil in any way, but I do love the way that every day, although we didn't perfectly do it every day there's a little challenge. Some of them you're done in a couple of minutes. Some you're scratching your head for 5-10 minutes, but they're nice little self-contained little puzzles that use what's in the room, that you open the door into the advent calendar and you can see into this room. Some have components that you've maybe got to cut up or do something with, and some utilise like the box itself and all that sort of brilliant goodness. And then you can find out which door you're opening next, because that's one thing, there's only one numbered door when you open this thing. You have to then work out where's door 2, door 3, etc. as you're going through. I know it's not the best thing to recommend now, but I would highly recommend it for next year, because we had a lot of fun. We played 24 little escape rooms effectively over the course of December. So if you play a game that much and you enjoy it, it's got to be your best of the month, right? Now, let's see what some other creators picked this month.
Hi, this is Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and my best of the month for December was Sky Team. Sky Team is a 2-player cooperative game with limited communication. So those buzzwords, cooperative, limited communication, those are things that I love in games, and I had been looking forward to Sky Team since I heard about it, and it did not disappoint. So in the game, there's 2 players, you're a pilot and a co-pilot, and you're working together to try to land a plane. And for some reason, you can't really talk to each other. But there's multiple rounds in the game, and each round, there's limited communication. Each player is rolling dice behind a screen, and then taking turns placing dice onto a board. And the board has certain spots for the co-pilot and certain spots for the pilot. So you can only place your dice in certain spots, and some spots you have to place your dice. And so it's like, there's one with like the angle of steering where the 2 dice that are placed, one is the pilot, one's the co-pilot. The difference between it is how much the plane angles. And like, if it angles too far, then you can crash, and that's not good. And then another one is like for speed or brakes. And then there's other ones, like all these things that you have to do before you land. You have to clear airplanes out of the way, you have to lower your speed enough, you have to actually take enough time to get there, and you're also lowering your altitude, you're like closing up all of your flaps and stuff, or turning on switches. I'm not sure all of this stuff, but there's a lot of things you have to do, and a lot of rounds, or like so many rounds that you have to do it in exactly. So between the rounds, you can discuss strategies and stuff. Say like, okay, I want to roll, like if I get a 1 or a 6 or whatever, I'm going to be putting it here and here, and we want to try to coordinate. But then you can't talk once you're rolling the dice. So if you roll something that you did not want, like you wanted to get high numbers and you just rolled 1s and 2s, and it's like, oh no, you can't talk about that. You're just placing these, hoping that your partner can place something and not crash. So I really like that. There's like planning, but also the limited communication, and then trying to not fail. There are also a lot of different airports that you're landing at. So those are different like scenarios that you play that have different rules added on to them. I only played twice. So I played like a beginner one and then a slightly more difficult one, but there's lots of other things that you can add, which seem really cool. So I really like Sky Team, and if you like 2-player games, especially 2-player limited communication cooperative games, then you'd probably like Sky Team too.
Hey everybody, I'm Evan.
And I'm Grayson.
And here we are with our best of the month picks for the month of December 2023.
Yeah.
Been a pretty good month, I think. But I'm going to go ahead and pick my favorite as a theme that matches this month. And that is going to be Santa's Workshop, this shiny, fancy new edition here from Elf Creek Games. It had been a game that I had heard of before, but ooh-wee, did it look ugly. But I had heard really good things about it, right? So finally, once Elf Creek announced this, and I think it took about a year for it to come out because they got it out right in time this year. So luckily, Missy was able to get one at PAX. She brought it home. We played it, and it was a lot of fun.
And the art wasn't garbage.
No, the art is not garbage. You get to be one of these elf crews here, and you are making toys based on these letters to Santa. When kids say what they want, and they have like materials on there. Of course, I can't get it in focus. There we go, maybe. Ooh. And then you collect those materials, and you build those toys, and you send them off on the sleigh. It's a worker placement game, but it's a pretty basic worker placement game. Nothing like super innovative, but I think it's the theme that really brings this game to life, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And for some reason, you have coal for a resource. Not necessarily a bad thing. You have to use it to buy the reindeer.
And also buy the resources that can make the toys.
Yeah, so I think the reindeer eat the coal, but I'm not sure. Or it just keeps them warm in their stables, but then I don't know why you get them because of that. But yeah, Santa's Workshop was a game that I had a lot of fun with this month. What do you got, Grayson?
My pick for this month is going to be Onitama.
Why would that be?
What?
Why would that be?
So, let me tell you a story. Basically, we have played this game a lot.
Yeah, over the years.
A lot.
Oh, yeah.
Except I was almost never ever able to beat him.
No.
Except for the 2 times we played this month, I absolutely wrecked him both times.
Yeah, you had a losing streak of
16.
Yeah, and then
Something like that.
Yeah, at least.
And then I finally won a while ago, but and now I'm on this winning streak that now he can't beat.
Yeah, wow, I wonder how that happened.
So Onitama is a game where basically you play as either the blue people or the supposed to be red people.
Yeah, ours are kind of brownish orange.
And either you want to take out the master of one of either of the other side, and then or you want to get the master to, if you're the blue person, you want to get the master to the other side of the board. And so basically, it's like chess, but it has these special cards that can basically make it so that it's different each time, because you only have 5 cards of moves each time. So you can move this, but and every time you use it, it goes to the middle. So then the person next takes their turn and gets the card you use.
Right, you're giving them moves on their future turns.
So it could be not good to give them the card that basically can win them the game.
I think that's a classic game at this point, right?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
But it's really fun.
Yeah, even when I lose, it's still pretty fun. All right, well, those are our picks for this month. And hey, maybe we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hi, it's Barb, Meeple PhD, and my favorite play for December 2023 was Atiwa. This is a worker placement game from Uwe Rosenberg, and I'm going to admit I went in a little bit trepidatious because I really did not like Agricola. I found that to be punishing and just not fun. But I was completely drawn in by the theme of this game, where you are building up this region in Ghana with families who are educating themselves about living with the bats and attracting them to the area and trying to live with them peacefully. And I gotta say, I am so glad I tried this out because I absolutely love this game. In the game, you are playing over several rounds, placing out workers on the board, and the types of things you'll do is to get new terrain into your tableau. You can also build settlements if you have enough trees and gold to do that. You can place out animals like wild animals who can become food later in the round, or goats who can produce their own food. You can milk them and get food from them. You can also place out trees and fruit, and usually you can get more bats too, which of course is one of the big goals of the game. But at the end of each round, you go through this upkeep phase, which I actually find kind of enjoyable. This one has a cool step in it where you are producing income based on what you have in your tableau. So each player has this player board that has all of their pieces, their wild animals and trees, their fruit, their families, and their goats. The bats and the gold are in a supply, they are unlimited, but the other things that are on your player board are limited for you and your tableau. And during this upkeep phase, you are working your way down the board. And if you have enough, say, wild animals off of your board and into your tableau, you get to place a new tree or two. And then if you have enough trees, you can place additional fruit. And if you have enough fruit, you get to attract additional bats into your tableau. And so I actually really love this part of the game where, during the round, I'm thinking ahead, like, can I get another wild animal off my board and into my tableau so that I have enough to get more trees and kind of make this little engine work better for me. The other thing I really like about this game is that I feel like there are several paths to victory. I often go for the most bats that I can strategy, but we've had players who also went for like settlements. So you can build new settlements for your families. You need trees in order to do that and gold, but they give you a lot of points. And I always feel like when I, placing my worker on my turn, I'm never completely shut out of something that will help my tableau and help my game along. And for that reason, I have found this just to be a fun and enjoyable experience. I like the arc of the game. I like looking at my tableau. Some of the cards are super fun. There's like a haunted house that attracts a lot of bats, which is super fun. And so for that reason, Atiwa is my favorite play for December 2023. I hope you all have had a great month gaming. I will see you next month. Otherwise, you can follow me on Instagram and Blue Sky and find me on YouTube, all as MeeplePhD. And I have a blog at MeeplePhD.com. We'll see ya.
Hi, I'm Josh from the YouTube channel joshyaks, where I talk about board games and books and other things. More about the other things in just a moment here. My board game of the month for the month of December is a game that you no doubt have heard about if you follow along with any sort of board game media, and that is the wonderful two-player cooperative board game Sky Team. This truly unique little game is right up my alley. For whatever reason, ever since I was a little kid, I've always been fascinated with aviation. I've always been a reader, so even as a child, I read books that were basically autobiographies and biographies of World War I and II flying aces. To this day, I follow along with various aviation YouTubers, and for somebody who has no interest in actually being a pilot, I know way too much about how to fly and land an aircraft. And I've actually been in several different types of airplanes, everything from the big passenger jets to little two-seater Cessnas to even gliders. Speaking of landing aircraft, I was given the controls of a glider, and the person I was flying with was trying to coach me down to land this glider. But the amazing thing about gliders is they just don't want to come down. They just really like being airborne. So I was having a lot of trouble getting that glider down. So eventually the person had to take over the controls, and because I was way too high still, they had to put that glider into a side slip and just drop us down real fast onto the runway there. I mean, I've even jumped out of aircraft. So I've definitely been around and in several different types of aircraft. Not only that, but I have experienced firsthand what happens when the pilot of a big airliner doesn't land the airplane correctly. Way back in August of 2005, I was working as an advanced care paramedic in Toronto when Air France Flight 358 with 309 people on board was attempting to land at Pearson Airport in Toronto during a thunderstorm. Unfortunately, the pilot was at the controls, landed way too far down the runway. The runway was wet, so they slid along the runway. They slid off the end of the runway and then down into a ravine, at which point the aircraft broke apart and burst into flames. And I was actually in one of the first Toronto ambulances that had arrived on scene at that particular event, and I transported a couple of the more seriously injured people, including the pilot of the aircraft, to the hospital. And I actually, a few years back, made a whole video about that particular experience, if you feel like hearing all about it. But yeah, I have that kind of firsthand knowledge of just how badly things can go wrong if you don't land an airplane correctly. So yeah, Sky Team here just has the most amazing theme. It's so cleverly designed too. It's extremely simple to learn. The mechanisms are very straightforward, and yet how they all work together is so thematic and so interesting. I played it first with my primary adult gaming friend, and we both ended up rating the game 8.5 out of 10. And just yesterday, I actually played it with my older son, my 13-year-old boy, Evan, and he immediately asked to play it again. We won both of our first attempts at the game, and then when I started to tell him about all the other stuff, all the expansion content that was in the game, he was like, we have to play through all the scenarios. So even my 13-year-old boy was super excited by this game. So this is one that is definitely going to see a lot of playtime going forward, and I hope I don't crash too many airplanes in the process. So I just want to wish you all a happy new year. I hope it's a year full of joy and gaming. Cheers.
Hey boardies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. This is best of the month for December 2023. Wearing the hat, if you're wondering why, check out the podcast and the various other recent videos. This game is going to be my game of the month. This is Phantom Inc. I'm playing this actually tomorrow, maybe with the hat. The hat may be taken to someone's house. It's a team game, it's a word game. It's very much like Codenames and my video Crosstalk. Check out Crosstalk in particular, this is what it's closest to, but it's a different theme. Rather than being a speakeasy, we are set with mediums. You are going to be a medium, somebody else is going to be a medium on a different team, and the aim of the game is to find the common word as a spirit for your team first to win the game. The way it's going to work is the mediums are going to randomly select a card, either roll a die or something, pick between 1 and 6, choose one of these words, and between them make sure they're agreeing on that same word. And what they're going to do is then, starting with this Sun team, which I'm going to show you how that works. The Sun team over here is going to have a word, and what they're going to do is they're going to take 2 clue cards of the 7 they have, give those questions, like 20 questions, to their medium, and then they're going to reply with one of them face down and one of them's going to be face up. And the way that's going to work is the medium is going to start writing a letter. In this case, the question was, what colour is it? So what they're doing is the letter G and then saying stop. It could be gold, it could be green, but the opposing team have no idea what G is about. Is it around sport? Who knows? Then it's the opposing team, so then it's the Moon team, and now they're going to have a go, and they're writing K for whatever they're writing K for. And now it's back to our team, let's say. In this case, they're writing out the word, and they're saying what's it used for, or something like that. Again, they would have drawn up 2 more cards, have 7 questions, and writing W, I, N, E, and in this case, they probably wrote too much. They write silencio. However, as wine was all they wanted it to be written as, a full stop is added. Then it goes back to the team, then goes back to this team, K, I, and whatever that's going to be. And whenever you reach a situation where here, so the advantage obviously you might think is for the Sun team, but on the 3rd attempt, and it tends to be about 3 clues in, then the first thing the Moon can do is say, right, what we want to do is have an extra letter added to one of the opposing teams or our team to help us with whatever we're trying to figure out. In this case, actually, this was used for a different game. So now they didn't get it, but what you can do, instead of asking a question or trying to write out a letter, what you can do is try and guess the answer. So now the spirit's writing B, and then the medium's going to knock, and then it's going to be OT. In this case, they got the answer being bottle. It was basically bottle. What was it used for? So it's a green bottle. You can store wine in it, that kind of stuff, and that's how it works. Fun game. My rating's back to 7.5 out of 10. Check out the full video. Let me know at the comments of best in YouTube. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, and that notification bell. Any other questions, do let me know. More videos, obviously, on its way every day. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon. But for now, back to the table.
Hey everybody, it's Chris and Angie from the Chasing Meeples podcast, and we're here to talk to you about our games of the month. I'm going to talk about Oh My Brain. Oh My Brain is a quick 15-minute play. It is just great. Let me set this up for you, everybody. Imagine yourself camping. You just set up your campfire. You're ready to just hang out and enjoy nature, and all of a sudden, zombie animals come out to eat your brains. Well, that is what's happening in this game. Those zombies, though, they're not going to get your brains. You are smart. You're smarter than your opponent. They're going to get your opponent's brains. All right. And I'm going to tell you exactly how that's going to happen. First, you're going to be drafting some cards. You have what is called the cemetery and your hand. You start off the game with 3 cards in your cemetery and 3 in your hand. You'll then take the rest of the cards and you're going to make a circle. You're going to make a circle on the table. And then in the middle of that, that's where you're going to be playing your cards. That's going to be the campfire, okay? The cards that are round, that's the swamp, and that's where you're going to be pulling cards from, okay? The object of this game is to get rid of all the cards in your hand. If you don't, you lose brains. If I play a card, if I play a 4, Angie is going to have to play a 4 or higher. If she doesn't have that, she is either going to have to get penalized by giving up some brains, or she had an 11 card, okay, which is higher than the 4 that I played. That would cause the campfire to be discarded. She would draw up to her regular amount of cards out of her cemetery, because remember, you want to get rid of all your cards, and she would be able to place another card into the campfire. There's a pink die in this game, and this die, when you play a card with a marshmallow on it, you roll it, do whatever the die tells you. I am not going to explain what the die is going to tell you. You can figure that out for yourself if you play this game. Wow, mind blown, completely changes everything. All right, but anyway, this game is great. I really enjoy this game. If you're looking for a quick game, maybe it's a game that you bring to the coffee shop when you want to go have a coffee. Maybe it's just a quick game when you are waiting. You just got 15 minutes to spare. Let's just say that, okay? It's a quick game and it's fun. And what's really cool about this is the back of the box glows in the dark. And no, it really does, Angie.
Thank you, Chris. My game is a little bit more serious than that. It is Obsession. You play the head of a very reputable household in Derbyshire, England. You want to get one of your eligible children to attract the attention of either Edward or Elizabeth Fairchild. You want to raise your standing in the community. So you're going to do that by improving your estate. How do you do that, you ask? You're going to use these tiles, which are improvement tiles, to host an activity. When you host that activity, you need guests from your hand. So you're going to use these guests, and you're going to use a handful of workers. You're going to assign these to your cards and to the tasks. And when you do that, you're going to gain some favors from them. You're going to gain prestige, because this is all about prestige. You're going to gain either money or even more guest cards. After that, you have another thing you can do, and that is to go to the market. This is a very important part of the game because it really impacts your game. There's a lot of choices to make. If you actually go to the market enough, you can actually get a lot of points. When you go to the market, you're going to buy one of these tiles, and you need to have enough of these tiles because when you get to the courtship phase, you draw a theme card. And when you draw a theme card, you need to total up what you have on your improvement tiles. If you don't have enough improvement tiles, you can't win the courtship phase, which gets you VP points at the end of the game. When you get to the end of the game, you're going to add up your prestige, your VP, the points on your guest cards, and then points on your improvement tiles. All the improvement tiles that you're going to buy, because they're very, very important. And the person with the most points wins. There's a little bit more to the game than that. You can find out the rest when you play it yourself.
Would really appreciate it if you check out our podcast, Chasing Meeples. You can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just search for Chasing Meeples.
And well, that about wraps us up today. Some amazing choices. You know, Sky Team, that sounds like it's definitely one to play. And big up Grayson for absolutely smashing Evan at Onitama. What a brilliant game as well, Onitama. Right, make sure you check out all of the creators, though, that were on today's show. Make sure you check out, the links will be in the description box below. Share the love. It's a new year now. Go and find someone new to subscribe to. That would be brilliant, right? And, well, have an amazing year gaming. And just know that there is a special Best of 2023 video coming your way soon. Until then, though, have a great month gaming.